How does the life cycle of a star look like? How were they able to amass so much matter and reach such high temperatures? And how can they burn for millions and billions of years? Did you ever ask yourself something like that? If so, let me give you a brief overview of a star's life cycle. Before we start, let me thank you for your support and please consider liking and subscribing, if you haven't already, as it helps the channel a lot. So, let's get into it. It all starts with nebulae, huge clouds of gas between the stars that take many forms. Some are dark shapes that blot out the light behind them like ghostly monsters. Others glow because the gas inside them gives off light, or starlight reflects off or passes through them. Formed when a dying star explodes or when the swirling motion of a galaxy creates a concentration of interstellar gases, they are some of the most breathtaking and famous parts of the universe. Protostars are huge clumps of gas and dust within the nebulae, that aren't quite hot enough to achieve nuclear fusion in their cores. A protostar starts off looking like a cloud, but as gravity pulls it tighter and tighter together, it heats up and begins to glow. Eventually the star reaches 15 million degrees Fahrenheit, so hot that the hydrogen atoms in its core begin fusing into helium. The larger the star, the shorter the protostar stage. Big stars might only be a protostar for around 1 million years. A medium-sized star like the Sun might take 50 million years to begin fusion, and the smallest stars take over 100 million years. Once a star begins fusion, it becomes much more stable and enters the main sequence of its life cycle. The incredible amount of energy it releases stops gravity from pulling it any tighter together. As long as it has enough hydrogen in its core to keep fusion going, a star stays in the main sequence. The Hertzsprung-Russell diagram shows how different stars can look while still remaining in this stage of their lives. How long a star stays in the main sequence depends on its mass, but stars typically keep fusing hydrogen in their core for billions of years. That's long enough for planets to form and, at least on Earth, for life to evolve from soupy bacteria into complex animals like dinosaurs and human beings. Our Sun is right in the middle of its main sequence. It's 4.5 billion years old and will probably keep on fusing hydrogen in its core for another 5 billion years. After a star runs out of hydrogen, its life changes dramatically. The fusion reaction that kept it in the main sequence for billions of years ends. The star begins fusing helium into carbon instead, and this nuclear reaction makes its outer layers so hot that they begin fusing hydrogen, which expands them. A star in the red giant stage can be several hundred times larger than it was in the main sequence. Because red giants are so big, they have a much larger surface area to radiate away the energy from all the fusion going on inside them. This makes them cooler overall. Hot stars glow blue, white or white, cooler stars glow orange or yellow, and the coolest stars are red, which is why these giants give off a red glow. Although all stars are born the same way, how they die depends on their size. Most stars run out of fuel and become white dwarfs, but a few generate massive explosions called supernova. The biggest stars turn into black holes, spheres of matter so dense that not even light can escape their gravity. In stars up to 1.5 times more massive than the Sun, the star's core eventually runs out of helium to fuse into carbon. Its outer layers blow away into space one at a time over about 10,000 years and become a planetary nebula. What's left of the star becomes a small white dwarf at the nebula's center. White dwarfs are very hot at first, but over billions of years they cool off until they become black dwarfs and no longer shine. White dwarfs are hard to see, but there are a lot of them. Scientists estimate that 94% of all stars become white dwarfs when they die. If small stars die with a whisper, large ones die with a bang. During the red giant stage, they become supergiants, some of the largest stars in the sky. Then they explode in a supernova. Supergiants live short, but intense lives. They can shine up to 1 million times as brightly as the Sun, but may only last for 1 million years. Their temperatures are so extreme that all kinds of fusion happens inside them, not just hydrogen into helium and helium into carbon, but carbon into many heavier elements. Fusion continues until the supergiant's core becomes iron. Iron doesn't release energy when it fuses, so once the core is iron, the careful balancing of energy versus gravity in the star disappears. Gravity wins and the supergiant collapses in less than a second. That catastrophic collapse makes the star's core so hot that its atoms explode in a gargantuan burst called a supernova. Supernovae are so powerful that the brightest in Earth's recorded history was said to light up the landscape like the moon. If a star is massive enough, at least 1.5 times as massive as the Sun, its core can survive a supernova and become something very different, a neutron star or a black hole. Neutron stars are really dense. They're about the same size as a city around 12 miles across, but they pack 500,000 Earths worth of matter into that space. Although that creates a lot of gravity, radiation can still escape them. Astronomers can see neutron stars when they emit X-rays or a strong magnetic field. In this image of a neutron star, X-rays are colored yellow, radio waves are colored red, and infrared light is colored green. It's those powerful X-rays that make the star detectable. Black holes, on the other hand, are created when stars at least 3 times as massive as the Sun die. They're so dense that their gravity traps all radiation. Most black holes are relatively small, but at the center of every galaxy is a supermassive black hole, which contains as much mass as millions or billions of stars. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something along the way. As I normally do short videos here on YouTube, a lot of the topics of the star's life cycle are covered in some shorts. Check the video description for further information and content. Subscribe, share and comment for more science-related content.